So we're using the Pascal programming language. Let me share my screen so we can. This is actually low system resource. This is somebody's work I found, so and I think it actually explains the topic well. So I'm just going to do a little intro part. So for compilers, we look at there's a front end, there's a back end. Okay, what's the front end? The front end should be your source code, right? And the compiler takes your source code as inputs. I'm not going to do much here if I go to our own. So it accepts source code as inputs, then the source code will pass through the compiler, and then a target code. Language, let me say Java, for instance. If you write a Java source code, of course, the first thing to do is write your source code, save your source code with words, the name of the program, dot words, dot Java. Okay. So when you now run it through the compiler, if it is successful, another file is generated. The first file is your, let's say it's hello world, and the name of the program is hello world. The first thing that happens is that your program, you save it with hello world.java. So by the time you finish, pass it through the compiler, what happens? It generates a new file called hello world. The .java will no longer be there, and that new file is called your target code, which in programming terms is called a bytecode. Okay, now that is one of the advantages when you talk about characteristics of Java. Is we say it's write once and you can run it anywhere, as long as the system has a Java runtime machine JRM running on it. So it means that after it has passed through, the source code has passed through the compiler and has generated a bytecode, you can now take that bytecode to any other machine without compiling it again. It doesn't need to pass through the compiler again. If there's a Java runtime machine there, it will run that program. So that's what the function of a compiler. If you pass a source code through the compiler, it does not step it down to machine code directly. Do you understand?
Okay.
It's a target code. Like if your target code could be a lower level language, which is an assembly code, like assembly language kind of. So, and that's what we're going to be looking at in this course. How our source code can accept a single input. We'll start with accepting a single input. From a single input, maybe multiple expressions, and then you see how operators work. Now, compilers do what? We have how many phases? I don't know, in your compiler one, I'm sure you've gone through that now.
Yes.
How many phases of compiler? You have lexical analysis. What does it do? It carries out scanning. It scans through your inputs and breaks them down into what? Into tokens. Okay. So the tokens now will go through the next phase, which is what? Syntax analysis.
Syntax analysis.
The syntax analysis carries out kind of a it breaks your tokens into syntax tree and then further into abstract syntax tree. So the syntax phase does not actually look at the meaning of what you have entered. What it knows is that if this language says add semicolon and like as a terminator, like for instance, C++ or Java, would demand a semicolon at the end of your statement, okay? So, and in the syntax analysis phase, it's looking at, okay, which language is this? Java. Java says put a semicolon. Java is case sensitive to start with capital S. Oh, this person wrote small letter S. I hope you understand. So it's going to look at what the language allows and what you have written. If what you have written is not in line with what the language allows, it will return an error. I hope you get that's what happens in syntax. Then under syntax analysis, the output now will be a syntax tree. So the syntax tree is now an input into the next phase, which is the semantics analysis. The semantic analysis now further looks into meaning. Okay, remember the first one, no business with anybody. Accept, look at this person's input, break it down into tokens. What are tokens? We have language, most times it's valid tokens in the next language. For example, a plus sign is an operator. X is an identifier. You understand? And so all these things are like everything you have written. Let's say X plus Y equal to So sorry, a variable name x is equal to 3 plus 5y. So that x is a variable name where content should be stored. It will see it as an identifier. Then the equal to is an operator. The x and all those expressions also will be broken down one by one, one by one.
Yes.
I hope you understand. If you now see encounter 2y, 2y will not just be assessed as 2y. 2y will be the 2 there, and there's a y. But between 2 and y, in mathematics, 2y is 2 times y. It's not true. So the three tokens that will be recognized under 2y, 2, then asterisk, which represents your multiplication sign, and then y, which is another identifier. Okay. So 2y will be num, and the num there is 2. Operator, the operator there is asterisk, and then ID, the ID there is y. So that's how it breaks it down. It keeps breaking down everything you want, and then that is the scanning phase. You either call it the scanner or you call it what? Lexical what? Analysis. Okay, so but if it is an interpreter, what will it do for you? It accepts source code, it steps it down directly. Difference again between the interpreter and the compiler is that if the compiler encounters an error, it stops and then tells you where this error occurred. Especially 3, maybe you did not put semicolons, or you needed to add a parenthesis, it is not there, or you put opening quotes, but when you finish, you did not put the closing double quotes to show it is a string. So when it encounters this error, the compiler will halt. It will halt and then tell you what was expected of you to do. My friend here. So that's what, but the interpreter will continue running and go ahead to, if there's error, it will still go ahead and run. So that's the difference between. So please, sorry, no me when you were. Oh, see, come on, carry this small boy here. Okay, that's about it. Okay, let me quickly go to our work. Permit me to stop sharing this one. And
Yes,
this is Cynthia, right? I know you already wrote this code, but you were saying your own did not run.
Yes, ma.
I think I know where your mistakes are coming from. So I'm going to go through mine and then allow you to correct yours. So this is my code. So go to that, please get me. Oh yeah, go run. Run to that, okay? I'll give you some. Hurry to the fridge.
You have juice on your back.
Yes. I'm gonna go. Okay then. This is my Pascal code. I'm using Turbo Pascal. I kind of broke them down into different programs. Okay, the first program is this past new. That's why the program is supposed to have a name. So the first line you're seeing, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma.
The blue screen, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. So the first line that you're seeing there is what program what?
Pass new dot pass.
No, I mean the program itself. Program something. What did you see there?
Turbo.
No, I'm talking about the codes on the body of the blue parts.
On the blue
Program
part.
Credo. Can you see program
Okay, Credo. Yes.
I wanted to be sure you're seeing me.
Okay.
So Credo.
Okay.
I started program Credo simply gives a name to the program we are writing. So the next line will now be to declare constants. Every compiler should have valid sentences that it will use to go through or scan through your program and know whether what you error and inform you where the errors occurred. So the first line then apart from the program name is declaration. Use the keyword what const and a variable name. Now, for integers, as when you're writing a program normally, if I say integer number, finish. Can you just go to daddy, please? Let me finish. No, sorry.
No problem.
So by telling us the variable data type and then the variable. So in this case now, we are saying it is a constant first. What does a constant mean?
Yes.
It is a whose value cannot be what? Changed. You understand? That's what a constant is. So we now said constant tab, particular language. Tab would be what a variable that we'll be using to call up our constants. Hold on. Ozzy!
Mommy.
Ozzy!
But that is how
Can you hold him? Okay, so that's for that. And then the next thing we have, we declared after the constant has been declared, we now declared a variable called in data type char. That means it is a character data type is going to be accepting. So after these two declarations, we declared constant and we declared data type. So the procedures now start running. a procedure is a procedure and what is a function? I need to attend to that. A procedure is a part of code that carries out a specific function, carries out a task, just like the procedure. But difference is that when you don't need a return type, you just want it, oh, this is a subroutine action. This input carry out this function. That means you might not need what? A return value. In that case, use what? A function. So I'll show you the difference by the time you see me declare a function. You see that my procedures will just say procedure get char. You understand? The function that I'm declaring now, I'll tell it get char and let the char be what? A single char. If it's not that way, I can say let the char be that only it's followed by just the name. It does not really matter what you feed it because it's not between procedure and function. They both carry out tasks, but the procedure will not give you a return value. The function will give you a return value. That's the difference. Okay, so let's continue. My first procedure says get char. That's the name of the procedure. The user input. If you look at what I have in coil living around.
Yes, I am. Orange color.
Yes, thank you.
I can.
The curly brace okay. So is like normal curly brace, as we call it in programming. So the first curly brace opens and then you write a comment. So anywhere you see my close it again, it is just a comment. Compiler will ignore it. So comment is to show you what this procedure is doing for me. So and this first procedure CPU stream, the keyboard. So it will whenever I call procedure get char, it will be blinking the cursor, waiting for me to type something from the keyboard.
Yes,
is that clear? So whatever I type from the keyboard, it will get char. And then the procedure begins here. And then what is the procedure out a specific task? Okay. Now what is his task? Read. What is he reading? Look. Remember we declared a variable called look, right? Yeah. And look is what data type. Right. Anything you didn't specify. If it is a function, that's where the problem will now come because function is supposed to return something to me. This one is just to go ahead, listen to the keyboard and hear what this person wants to type. Whatever he types, accept the procedure get char. That's what he says, but nothing else. So that's for procedure get char. The next procedure have is what? Can you read it from there?
Next procedure.
Report error, right?
An error.
Report an error. Thank you. Error. So procedure, what does it do? It accepts what? So let's say you can hear me, my gender off, or you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So let's say the this procedure is called. That means whenever a string is entered and there is need for error to be reported, Oga reports an error. So it does not tell you the condition procedure is activated. That means an error is about to be. Okay. And what will be the content of the error? Right line. Right line means like if I want to say print. Do you understand? In the first, we said read. Read means read from the keyboard. Write means in basic programming to tell you print. In Python, it's to tell you print and then use a parenthesis. Now it's saying write line. It will now be system.out.print line. I hope you understand. Print everything on this line. So whenever you use write line alone, that means you're not writing anything new. Nothing will be displayed, but you just want a space there. Do you understand? So that's what that's under procedure the right line. Then the second line tells you what to write on that line. The first has done right line. That means just print something. That what will you print? Not it will just be an empty space. It will make your work to be organized. Just give space to what I want to tell you. So what are you now trying to tell the person? What are you now trying to tell the person? Capture upper all you have there is exponential value in programming language. So this for error to be written, and then anything held inside a single quote or a double quote is a string. So it's just the way it is in the program is how it's going to appear. Okay. So just write for me error. Yeah, it's not gonna. You're not telling it anything. Just say error. That error will be followed by the string that the person displayed, or the person types something, and whatever that person types, you're going to already under procedure error. It has been stored inside the string. You have S. What data type is it? That thing that has been accepted inside the string, display it, and then what follows? A full stop. Because the full stop is held inside single quotes, you're just saying after displaying the content of what the person says, it's just declare error and then write out what that person stored inside the variable string and then put a full stop. That's what it's saying. So whenever it is held inside the quotes, that means it will display exactly. It is a variable. It will look for where that variable is. That's what it means. So this error has stopped. Then the next procedure says report the error as will encounter error, they will not stop. but compilers will encounter error and do what?
Oh.
And stop. This next procedure is one stop. And now we make it to, after reporting that first error is reported, it will now do what? Halt, to stop working. Procedure abort. Abort, you know what I mean? The literal meaning of abort, of course. It means what? Stop. So now the name of the procedure is the data type of it is a string. So the next thing is begin. So what does error? Procedure error just wrote a free line, and then second line says, tell this person there's error and display the person's string. It's not true. But after begin, you're seeing error, right?
Yes.
That error means, please call procedure error for me. That's what it means.
Okay.
When you want to call a procedure, is that first procedure error. And what did they say in procedure error? Right line, no problem. Again, right line and display some information. In this second, after you write line, that means a space. So show the person his string and put a full stop. So that is, you're not telling it under error and halt. Please activate again procedure error. After which the next line now says halt. Halt means stop compiling for me. So carrying out function of procedure error, and then it is now stopping the compiler from working. So next procedure, you see, this is why when you write a program, if there's error, this will happen. Now, apart from this happening, a compiler, the one of the advantages or characteristics of a good compiler is that it reports exactly what happens to you. Why do I need to debug this in? What will I even debug? I don't even know. Some like students I was teaching Python, I think a few days ago. It was their first time in programming class. So, and when they encountered error, they were sweating. What did I do wrong? You see the tension there. So, and I told them, calm down. The compiler will tell you what you did wrong. Do you understand? So a good compiler will tell you where you made a mistake and will tell you the exact inline so and so points. You're supposed to put a parenthesis. You did not put it though. You opened a double quote to show string, but you did not close it though. You know, that kind of thing. So it will inform you. So you now go back and say, okay, see my mistake. So that's what our next one is going to be doing. It says report what was expected. Are we there? So procedure report what was expected. The name is procedure expected. It is also a string type. So, and what does procedure expected do? It calls procedure abort. And what is in procedure abort? Procedure abort contains what? Procedure error. Yes. Are we together now? So it will first call procedure abort, and procedure abort contains procedure error and stop. So under procedure expected, error will be displayed, compiler will be stopped. That string value that you entered, it will display it, and then concatenate it towards the key, the sentence, the word expected. Remember that whatever you see in quotes is just a string. It is not going to compile it. So our expected is what? In quotes. What does it do first? It stops. That's the function of procedure abort. And then to that, it now adds your, do you understand? So it carries out function of error, function of abort, and set. Now, the next procedure says match and input character. Now, if somebody enters something, you need to know if what he enters or what is required for him to enter. And you did not enter integer, instead of integer, you entered, I should be able to say it is wrong. So it's to recognize that on this section, match and input character. That's where you have procedure match, and it's going to be a char. So begin. It says if look, remember we declared a variable called look. If look is equal to x, x is just what we called under variable look is this char. Then go ahead and run procedure get char for me. Remember procedure get char allows us no, that means else. Now the person expected is what? Space. Now I know that this area will give you an error in your program. Please look well. You know what I have here is not double quotes. I've run this program. We are using double quote opening, double quote closing, because there are 4 marks here before the plus. No, it is one single quote, single quote, open again. I know that when you said error, I just knew it was from here. 90% to be from here. So because most people encounter all this expected, this, that will be using single quote. There's been no double quote in any of them. So that expected you're seeing there is single quote, single quote. So that's what we are using throughout in this program. So under expected, so when it is single quote open, single quote close, another single quote open, single quote close, then a plus sign, concatenate it to the value of x, which you have accepted during your single quote, the same thing, you repeat that again. Make sure it's not double quotes you're using to give you error and expected that. Okay, so now recognize an alphabet. If you expect a char and person enters number, that means it's able to report error. So function, you see the difference now? We've been declaring procedure. Now want to declare it's going to recognize. We didn't just tell it carry out this function. We're telling it recognize somebody. If this person is not who you want to recognize, that means you give me an answer. It is not the first case. Now we say recognize is alpha. That means it's just a variable name we gave it. We don't want to use recognize, or we don't want to call this function alphabet. No. So we call it function. So if it is a procedure that I'm writing, what I'll do is procedure alpha. Open my bracket and just say C is going to be a char. Now, but now if I'm writing a function, C is going to be a char. That is, C is a variable, and char will be stored inside it. Please, but the return value is a yes or no. That's why you use Boolean. Do you understand? Yes. Boolean returns yes or no. Boolean returns what? True or false, yes or no, 1 or 0. It's a character data type, and since it is a character data type, its return value is going to be Boolean. I've specified information is the variable name, I've declared it. Equal to, I'm telling you, convert it to an upper case. That's why you see, is it inside between A to Z? I'm now going to evaluate my input, whether it is inside A to Z. Okay, a true will be returned for me. If it is not inside it, you see where another function here is to recognize numbers. So in that function, how function is digits. Is also as return value to be what? Boolean. Is begin again. Is digit C is also going to contain whatever you entered as your digit. Is it inside true? If no, then you see this next function will not be. That means if that function, if alpha is not true, it will now run this your function get name. Okay, before. Is alpha is false, function alpha. That means if not that the one you wrote there, if it's not true, remember what expected is what? Show error. You know what procedure expected does? It carries out procedure error, carries out the about you have procedure error. Then procedure about will also do what? Halt. Doing for us. So let me push my, and then you run display. It's like you're writing to the console or your string our tab, and then the string that you want to display. This one says output string line. When you say only emit, you're doing emit. So in emit now, the cursor feed, because you have a emit line, it will display everything on that line, and the cursor will go to new line and be blinking for you. That means it is a line feed, 100% line feed. So my progress program main method will now run. That's all. So let me run this before. I'm running it. So E, I don't know if you can see what I'm running. I just typed E because what is running is get char. So to view what the value, I'll go back to file, go back to .shell, under file, .shell. And then my .shell, if you look up, I don't want to, if I close it, I've done well. Now, if you want to exit from here, just type exit and you go out from this environment, okay? This will be your template for all the programs you're going to be running in this compiler. Carry out a new function, recognize expressions like this one, okay, from beginning to end. But in this case now, I have a place where I asked it to recognize number, okay? The whole number is still the same thing, but the same program has been written, then copy it to a new field. In it, remember we have procedure there. You now have expression passing before you have your main program.